What's your issue, scumbag?
Sir, I don't like making toys, sir!
Oh, you don't like making toys, Hermie? Well, tell us all, what do you want to do?
Sir, I want to be a dentist, sir!
A dentist? If you don't follow my orders, you will become a dead elf, and then you will be in a world of shit, because elves are not allowed to die without Santa's permission. Are you quitting on me, Hermie? Well, are you? Then quit, you slimy, short, 8-year-old girl-looking piece of deer dirt! Get off my assembly line! Get off! Now! Move it! Or I'm gonna rip your jingle balls off so you can't contaminate the rest of the world!
Hello?
Where are you guys? The show's supposed to start now.
Let me put you on speakerphone.
Now?
What?
The show's supposed to start.
What? I can't hear you, Sammy! I'm going to the North Pole!
The North Pole?
Yeah! We're gonna bring Creepmas to the North Pole and use the North Pole to spread it worldwide! Santa's been in charge for far too long!
This sounds crazy. You're going to get yourself killed.
Riot! I keep it real!
What about the show?
We'll just do it like this!
Are you stuck in a zombie apocalypse? Does everything smell like rotting flesh? Well, I have great news for you. Just because you're a mindless flesh-eating idiot doesn't mean you have to smell like one. Thanks to Dawn of the Dead. The same powerful formula that used to clean oil spills off of ducks can help control that terrible odor. Dawn is not meant to be used on people, but that's okay because you're a zombie now. Dawn of the Dead. This product is fake, but the bills are real. Consider becoming a Patreon to keep us going. Or, for one-time gifts, we have PayPal, Super Chats, and Super Thanks. Thank you all.
I can't believe we really made it.
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, we had a lot of things stacked against us. You had to figure out where North was, and drive there. You're a bad driver.
Liar! I'm a great driver!
I hope you're an even greater walker.
The strange haunting of the Bell family by the entity called Kate continued, and people kept coming to visit and witness what the witch could do. One source says that even General Andrew Jackson and some of his men came to see Kate. John Bell and his brothers, Drury and Jesse, fought in the Battle of New Orleans under Jackson's command, and when Jackson heard about the Bell Witch, he gathered the men and they made their way to the Bell House. On the way there, the horses suddenly stopped. No matter what the men tried, they couldn't get the horses to move. But as far as they could tell, there wasn't anything to stop them. Nothing blocking the road, and no sign of a predatory animal nearby. After trying for several minutes to move the horses, Jackson said out loud, "It must be the Bell Witch." Then Kate's voice was heard. She gave them permission to continue, and said she would see them later that night. The men set up camp in the Bell's yard, then went inside for dinner. So far the night was uneventful, and everyone sat around telling stories. One man claimed to be a witch tamer. He bragged that he was why Kate hadn't come out. He took out a pistol that was loaded with a silver bullet, and said Kate was afraid of it. Then, suddenly the man jumped up screaming and jerking around, saying he was being poked with needles. He then was kicked in the butt by an unseen force, sending him screaming out the front door. Kate then spoke, saying that man was a fraud, and that there was another among Jackson's men, and she would reveal him tomorrow. Jackson's men begged Jackson to leave, but Jackson wanted to stay. He wanted to know who the other fraud was. That night the men slept in their tents and were gone early the next day. No one knows what happened that night, but some claim that Jackson said, "I would rather fight the British at New Orleans than fight the Bell Witch." But Kate wasn't always abusing and insulting. Sometimes she was helpful. She would manifest food like grapes and nuts. When someone in the family misplaced something, she would find it for them. Kate really liked Lucy Bell. She said Lucy was a good woman and would call her Old Luce. She would often help her. When Lucy got sick, Kate would sing to her and give her food. This was even witnessed by a group of women that were visiting Lucy. Kate had other nicknames for the adults in the house. John was called Old Jack, and the Bell's close friend was called Old Sugarmouth. The witch no longer abused Betsy like she did in the past, but started only bothering her when she was with the boy she liked, Joshua Gardner. Betsy and Joshua went to school together and began a relationship. They even got engaged. Kate did not approve of Betsy seeing Joshua and would bother them any time they were together. Kate would tell Betsy not to marry Joshua. Betsy and Joshua would try to escape the witch by going outside and away from the house, but Kate would follow. Eventually, Betsy and Joshua called off their engagement, and Kate left Betsy alone. Another man was interested in Betsy, Professor Richard Powell. Powell was previously Betsy and Joshua's teacher, and was quite a bit older than Betsy. He was supposedly a genius at mathematics and studied the occult and ventriloquism. He was also married at the time to a woman named Esther Scott in Nashville. He kept his marriage to her a secret. He later married Betsy. The witch set her sight on John Bell and would continue to harass him and tell him how she was going to kill him. John would keep suffering from twitching and trouble swallowing. One day while working on his farm, John was tripped, then attacked. He then had a seizure. This left him confined to the house, where he would be tortured by Kate. His shoes would be taken if he wanted to walk around. She would curse at him and slap him on days he seemed to be feeling better. One day the family found a small glass container containing liquid hidden in a chimney flue, and gave it to the doctor that treated John. The witch said that it was going to be used by her to kill John. The doctor left with the mysterious container. John's health continued to deteriorate. On December 20th, 1820, while the family ate breakfast, they heard Kate say how she had killed John Bell with a bottle from his medicine cabinet. When the family checked, all the medicine was gone, except a small bottle like the one the doctor had taken away before. John Jr. threw the bottle into the fire, where it created a blue flame. John passed away the next day. John's funeral was one of the largest that that town had seen. Many people coming from miles away. During the funeral, Kate was heard laughing and singing. She continued until everyone had left. In 1821, the Bell Witch told Lucy Bell that she would be departing and would come back in 7 years. Kate did return in 1828 to visit John Bell Jr. She would talk to him about life and spirituality. The witch also made some predictions about the Civil War and other things that ultimately didn't happen. She left again after a few days, saying she would come back in 1935. There is nothing written about the Bell Witch returning, but many think she never left. Who or what was the Bell Witch? Many think the family made up the story or faked the haunting, but the detail and mass number of witnesses and events would be hard to create. There are numerous books written about the happenings, filled with accounts. There are some popular non-extraordinary theories on what happened at the Bell property. Some accuse Betsy and her brothers of arranging the incidents that resulted in the death of their father. John Bell was accused of abusing Betsy and his daughters. Some say Lucy Bell was the one who poisoned her husband. But the man who married Betsy, Professor Richard Powell, had a strange history. In his book, he briefly mentioned being married to Esther, but doesn't talk about her death. He does talk about Betsy and their marriage. He would visit the Bells often, but John Bell never liked Powell. He didn't appreciate how interested he was in young Betsy. The witch never came out or spoke when Powell was at the Bells. Powell was very mean to the slaves that worked on the property. Many of them suspected Powell was the cause all along, with his goal being to marry Betsy and get her family's money. Maybe he was so mean to the slaves because they knew he was behind the haunting. Some think that Powell used voodoo because New Orleans wasn't far. Could the Bell Witch be the result of a curse or summoned spirit? Some think Powell used a book of magic to create the Bell Witch. Powell had a strange book that he wouldn't let anyone touch. He claimed it was an antique geometry book, and that it was very fragile. According to John and Calvin Johnson, the sons of James Johnson, they got a quick glimpse of the strange book Powell had. They found the book on Powell's desk. It was written in a language they didn't know, and had many strange symbols in it. They were only able to get a quick look because Powell came in and demanded they hand it over. Besides that one account, there's no record of this book. If it was Powell, he got what he wanted. John Bell died, and he married Betsy, and after these events, the Bell Witch left. Powell became sheriff of Robertson County for 3 years. Then him and Betsy and their 8 children lost most of their things in a steamboat accident. During that time, Powell also suffered a stroke. They stayed poor, and Powell died in 1848. Betsy moved to Mississippi and remained a widow until she died in 1888. Whether it was Powell, an ancient Native American curse, or something else, the Bell Witch remains one of the strangest hauntings in history.
So what's our plan?
Plan? We don't need a plan. Those elves worship Santa because he's bigger than they are. Once they see we're bigger, they'll give us whatever we want.
Ha! Sounds great. It's just that
Oh God, what?
elves are pretty good at making things. What if they have weapons?
Like what?
I don't know. They spend all their time making toys. They'll probably have some baseball bats and pop guns. But what if they had something really crazy that we've never seen before?
Roger, I can't be scared of an army of toy-wielding children. I've got more important things to think about. Like about how I need the bathroom.
Oh man.
Don't worry about it. I'm trying not to think about it.
Do you want me to do this week's Thoughts with Roger?
Roger, why do you always... Hey, wait, that's actually a good idea. That should distract me from, things.
Okay, Super Horror fam, get ready. This week, I was thinking about
Things that are illegal.
So I just need to say, we at Super Horror Show don't support illegal actions. Here's this week's thought. Public toilets are free evidence disposal kits for criminals. So what do you think?
Oh my God. I want to dispose of some evidence so bad right now. Roger, how would that help distract me from the bathroom?
Here's this week's review. An Andrew Tate instruction video. I bet that means this will be really informative. Supervising Women Workers by Herbert Kirkhow.
Giant penis-shaped things. More giant penis-shaped things.
Joe Haley, there's one thing I'll say for you. You've done a good job. You know how to handle men.
Please stop smiling at
You know how to
me.
keep the line moving.
Thanks, Mr. Brooks.
You work hard, Joe. You're a good foreman.
Yuck, women. Nasty,
Yes,
dirty
women
things.
workers
Glad
do
I
the
was
same
never one.
problems, Joe. It's tough, I know, but there are thousands of others just like you all over the country facing the same problems.
A creepy boss talking to them in the dark?
You'll all find about the same answers.
I know most of the answers as far as the men are concerned.
Why are the
Well,
lights
I
off
think
in
we
this
can
room?
say that the broad principles involved in the supervision of men apply equally well in the case of women.
My knowledge of women pretty much comes from the
There
gutter.
are some new and different problems, Joe. I'll admit that.
Women scare me. At
Ha,
least
what a
they
loser.
do in a factory.
Well, maybe the women are scared too, Joe.
You know, Joe,
Let's see.
everyone's scared of Big Ed.
Oh no, help! I don't know what this machine is.
Most of them are working on their first industrial job, Joe.
How does this work?
It's a totally unfamiliar world.
This sewing machine is broken.
You see, they're not naturally familiar with mechanical principles nor machines. Why,
Women,
even the
they're
language
okay at
of
making
trying to,
babies, but
common
pressing buttons and
processes
pulling
and
levers is
tools are
too
new to
much
them.
for them. I was born pressing
Rubber
buttons.
for them.
Now, if anybody wants a flam span, give with a double left-handed jerry wrench on account of it might subbobulate the orange creek.
Papa Bones.
I
don't understand what he's saying. Does that mean I'm a woman?
Oh no, maybe. I don't understand him either.
I bet the women here are trying their best to not be attractive to this guy.
I know, Joe. It takes time to make them feel at home.
I don't want to
but
feel anything
it
at this
can
guy's
be
home.
done.
You talk like a man who knows women.
We'll see, Joe. We'll see. You know, women workers can be surprisingly good producers.
Of milk.
And it helps a lot to get them off to a good start.
Check out Egon
When,
over
breaking
here.
in any new
This is a
worker,
ruler,
of course,
and my
especially a woman,
thingy is this
you have to
long.
explain every angle of the process.
Here, you can
down
keep
to
this.
The last detail.
This is probably too heavy for you.
Since
So
most
you
of
need a
them
man
have
like me to
mechanical
help.
Background, you've got to study every job and subdivide it into simple.
Never mind, I can't
operating
do it.
steps. It's a good idea not to use trade terms.
Trade
except,
terms
of course,
like
where we must,
small clamp
and then explain in plain language
and big clamp.
exactly what such terms mean.
See how this
And,
works? You move it up and
no matter
down.
What the job.
This
He fits the
is
tools,
a
the work arrangements,
wrench.
to suit
I
the
thought
work.
this was called a hand.
Women workers don't mind routine, repetitive work, and they're particularly good on work that requires high finger dexterity. Or
Bunch of freaks,
an
really.
unusual sense of accuracy. The inspection foreman did a good job of breaking in those girls.
Good thing HR doesn't
He
exist yet.
remembered that what's old stuff to you and me is brand new to them.
True. They don't have any knobs or buttons or levers at home. Women only know how to make babies.
But new to me. Well, like baking a pie.
How did it go today, Joe?
Oh, all right.
You troubled about something.
No, everything went all right, Molly, but... You know, I had 7 requests for time off today. Well, I guess women don't realize what it means to stick on the job.
Well, I guess
Maybe
you
they
don't
don't.
realize a knife is a weapon.
How was your day?
Oh, pretty quiet. I did the washing this morning and cleaned the house. And I took Junior to the dentist.
Hmm?
I could
And
cut
did
your
the
tiny
shopping.
pee-pee clean off, but
I put up
it's
16
so
jars
small
of
I would
jam
have
this
to use one of
afternoon.
your fancy boy work microscopes
Then
to
I went
aim
to
into
work
your
on
tiny
Junior's
wee-wee.
Joe, I'm sorry supper's late.
Nice going, old lady.
No problem, tiny penis.
You know, Molly, I've been thinking.
I want a divorce.
Maybe some of those women and girls coming into the plant, well, maybe they have home responsibilities, too.
Really? Wow. You're so
Maybe-
smart.
Maybe they really do need time off. Perhaps I could rearrange their work schedules.
Gee golly,
Like that.
that'd be mighty white of you, John.
You could be the hero of the women. That's how you get the hose.
I'm glad
Roger,
I
do you know
thought
what a
of
hoe is?
No?
Yes.
It's a woman that will date and kiss anyone.
Sounds awesome.
Roger,
that. Morning, Mr. Brooks.
How go the ladies?
Oh, nothing. Are they complaining?
Well, as a matter of fact, I was just jotting down a few points on that very subject from this manual of yours here.
How to Supervise Women, a manual written by a bunch of old men. And no women.
These diagrams of women are pretty tasty. Especially A4.
I also noticed there were quite a few pictures of men.
Women are
It's kind of weird,
individualistic
but
by
I'm in.
nature and are apt to make a personal application of any action, rule, or regulation.
You're telling me.
Oh, the supervisor should scrupulously avoid spending too much time with any individual woman worker.
So I can
Holding
kiss them as
everyone to
long
the
as I
same
kiss them
standard
all
of
equally,
performance and
right?
avoiding any appearance of favoritism.
Sure, but you have to kiss the men
That's a
too then.
trick, if you can do it.
It's a deal.
Well, Joe, this all boils down to 4 things to remember. 1, don't mix pleasure with business. 2,
Why did his superior man brain
women
take so
can be
long to say
awfully jealous of
2?
each other. 3, avoid undue familiarity. And finally, women are more sensitive than men.
I don't know
How
about that
so
one,
they're
Chief.
sensitive?
I kicked Sarah in the
Why, only
balls and she didn't
yesterday
even
I-
flinch.
After I
When
finished
she
talking
kicked
to
me in the
Jane,
balls, I cried for
saw
4
Sam
hours.
Take it right on the chin when he caught a girl working on her drill press without her safety cap on.
Mary, you're supposed to wear a cap when working near a drill press.
I'm sorry, Mr. Costanza.
Look,
Serenity
rules
now!
says safety cap.
Serenity now!
There. You see what I mean? They give you an argument, and a crazy one at that.
Yes, a man probably would have kept the argument about himself and not trapped the foreman the way she did.
What do you
The
mean?
silly woman trapped the
Lord
foreman.
bless. It's an old stunt, Joe. You go after a woman worker on one point, and she switches the issue.
Well, why limit that to women?
Now, the issue was, why wasn't she wearing a cap?
Yeah.
And she switched him to the fact that the other girls weren't wearing theirs.
Yeah, who cares if you're the only
Down on
person being
dignity.
forced to follow the stupid
a bit
rules?
stuffily, I might say. Now, if she had been a man,
She'd be bald and wouldn't
he
need the
have
hair
laid
cover.
down a safety rule so arbitrarily. You know, Joe, you've got to tell them the why of every rule, particularly women. Now, suppose he had handled it in this way.
Mary, your hair was just about 2 inches away from the thrill chuck.
Serenity now! Serenity now!
You see, rules are here to protect you and the other girls working around you.
Oh, gee, I saw some of the other girls, and they weren't wearing any
That's
caps.
I see you don't need one because you're balding.
They just sit at a bench and assemble things. Nothing dangerous to them or the people nearby.
You know, I never thought of it that way before.
No woman has ever said those words.
If you don't shut
Okay,
up.
I get it.
I can't believe he just mansplained that to her.
Oh, Sammy. Mansplaining means when a man explains something to a woman.
No,
Oh yeah? Well, you're about to be woman. It's when I...
end of trouble. Now, avoid spending any
You know,
more time
sometimes
with one
when this machine
with
starts
another.
vibrating,
Treat them all the same.
I feel it in my loins.
Please don't walk away. I'm in danger.
And above all, avoid undue familiarity. Watch the little things, Joe.
The peepee?
The eternal feminine is very conscious of them. And finally, I don't have to tell you not to mix pleasure with business.
Does that mean we don't need to sit so close during meetings anymore?
In supervising women, add just one more. Act quickly. Never
I just
let a
want to say,
situation get underway.
act quickly is my motto
Remember,
when I do
Joe,
something bad.
we couldn't
Do
have
it
won
fast
this
and get out.
without the help of the women in this plant.
Today's video is brought to you by the letter E.
Made by the #1 producer of garbage, the federal government.
Probably all men. Idiots.
I can't believe they have an alarm system.
Don't worry about it, Roger. There's only 6 of them throwing snowballs at us. There were 2 defining seasonal wars I'm proud to be a veteran of. The crazy water war of '91 and the great snowball fight of '96. We've got this. Yeet! Okay. There's a few more, but we're still okay.
What are they doing?
Is that a... It's a fully automatic assault snowball gun!
I told you they had weapons. A crazy weapon we've never seen before.
We're gonna die!
Riot! We keep it real!
Shut up, Roger! I need to think!
Should we call the cops?
I'm pretty sure they're the cops up here. I don't see a way out of this one. They have helicopters? We're doomed.
No, Papa Bones. Look, it's Sammy.
Hurry up!
Hey, Sammy, I just want to let you know I didn't need to be saved.
He was gonna cry, I could tell.
Snow and ice is gumming up the motor. We're going down.